human, half animal.
Thunder, 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 yes.
Thundercats, Mumm-Ra and Lion-O, each sold separately.
I'm Mumm-Ra, want the sword of Thundera.
With this secret power ring, battery not included, you can make Lion-O's eyes light up. With Battlematic Action, you control their swords.
Sword is mine, Lion-O. That's what you think, Mumm-Ra.
Thunder, Thundercats.
Thundercats, Mumm-Ra and Lion-O with light-up eyes, each sold separately, new from LJN.
All right, welcome back, boys and girls, to another edition of Top 10 Toys. Now, this week I did something a little bit different in that I reached out to the community and took a poll to see what everybody wanted to see. And as you might have noticed, Thundercats won out. Now, I offered a couple of options. I was pulling for Mask because I was looking forward to doing Mask toys. Clash of the Titans is a favorite of mine. And then I also put out Random Goodness as an option because there's still plenty of weird little things that we can still talk about, from Boglins to Rock Lords to Sectars, a bunch of other weird stuff. So we'll get to all that eventually. But for this week, we are doing Thundercats. Now, this is a fantastic toy line. I want to do this one justice as best that I can, but this might be a little bit longer than normal because getting this down to 10 was really, really tough for me. So I'm going to go in first and kind of lead off and give you just some idea of some of the other toys that are out there that I'm not actually putting in my top 10 list. There are a lot of different versions and volumes of Thundercats that have come out over the years. From as recent as last year, Super7 came out with these ultimate editions of Thundercats. I think they started out in September of last year. They came out with like a first wave. I think we might have had another wave already. And these are just gorgeous, gorgeous figures. You can see that there's just excellent sculpts. You're getting multiple heads and weapons and all kinds of accessories that go along with these higher end editions from Super7. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct, that these are actually based off the 2014 Mattel molds that came out, not that long ago, just kind of reissued with a little bit even more extra than what was in that set. But that is also another great line. You can see just the details that they have there on Lion-O with the extra hands and, again, extra weapons and accessories and this pretty cool Mumm-Ra. It's just another great line that just kind of been revamped by Super7 here. And you can see what they had done is, like with Mumm-Ra, they gave the cloth coat, cloth cloak to kind of add an extra level of authenticity, I guess, to the toys. Just fantastic, fantastic molds. You can just see that a lot of the fun stuff you get in here. What looks like Mama even comes with Mumm-Ra in this Ultimate Edition. Now, again, that was just last year, which also gave us the Thundercats Roar cartoon, the animated series. I will admit I didn't check this out. I just didn't have much interest. It's nothing against the animation style in and of itself. I mean, the whole Steven Universe, OKKO kind of thing has its place, but I just didn't want it mixed with Thundercats, personally. So I didn't bother checking this one out. If any of you did, and if it's worth my time, please let me know, and I'll give it a look-see, but it's just not something that really that I wanted. So I just kind of left it on the side.
Let's see how you handle all the Thundercats. Teamwork gives the best. Thundercats, ho!
In a similar vein, I'm not a real huge fan of these reaction toys. I mean, they're okay. I get what they are. It's fun to get toys made of some of the more, obscure properties and just, figures you might not have gotten normally. But I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of the reaction line. They're a bit too basic for me for these days. I get the whole retro feel of them, but there is also that reaction line also released last year for Thundercats. And it's just, I don't know, it's just personally, it's just not really for me. So I don't do much collecting there. They're fun to look at. It's fun to see who they're making, but it's just not a line that, like I said, that's really got a lot of interest for my dollars. So you can see here, there's a few different figures that they released for the reaction line, but again, collect them if that's your thing. Otherwise, there are other options. We can move back just a couple of more years, back into 2011, and this is when they kind of rebooted the franchise with some newer animation, kind of newer designs. It was definitely more updated feel to these to the characters, more like a manga, definitely updated from that 80s. And this is a pretty fun toy line, too. I actually bought a bunch of these for my son because he started getting into it. watching it on Netflix, and I got him a bunch of these Thundercats figures, including some of the bigger play toys. Like he had the the sword and the glove there. But with that said, you can still collect these as well. You can see the Lion-O and the Mumm-Ra. They're very well done. These are they're on the smaller side. They're not quite the big 6-inch figures. They're not quite as small as like the 3 3/4 either. They're kind of somewhere in between. But it was kind of a fun line, and got a lot of posability, a lot of articulation, pretty cool weapons. Then they had a nice little selection of figures. So definitely give those a look-see as well. But for my money and what we're doing here, we are really going to focus in on the Thundercats of the 80s. So let's just get right into it. Now, Thundercats, again, is a classic series and classic toy line. There isn't a lot that we can really say. I mean, I've got my son's like sword here just as an example. It's just fantastic like toys that they made for these things. It's just, I don't know, it's something that you see on the shelf that you want to play with. So even before we get to the actual 10 list, I got to run through some of these other figures because like I said, I just want to be able to cover as much of this as possible because it is an excellent toy line, and there were a lot of good, cool options here. Now, we're starting off here. I'm just going to show you some of these villain figures. These all run kind of close to the same price-wise. Like, if you're looking at them in the package, these are all pretty close to like $200. So, I mean, we're looking at Monkey in here, which is kind of fun, as well as, Slythe. I guess I'm saying that properly. He's a little bit more expensive than the rest, and he's a bit heavier figure, a little bit more plastic there in that mold, but he's at about $225. So you're paying about $25 more for this henchman than you are for the rest of them. Now, a lot of really cool weapons in here. This line was made by LJN, and a fun little fact that I found out a little bit later is that some of these weapons are actually remolds of the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons figures that I covered a couple of weeks ago. You'll see, I think, the Snowman figure in particular has a reused helmet and a weapon, I think. That perhaps even Slythe's axe that we just looked at might have even been a reuse. I'm not 100%, but it's LJN. They had the molds. They just used them to make what they could. Vulture-Man was another pretty cool one, also in that like $200 range. You can see, and these figures also had that similar Battle-matic that the Dungeons and Dragons figures had as well, which is a little bit of the motion, a little bit of the action that the figures did for you. So Jackalman's another one, Jackalman, however you want to say it. $200 for him as well. And again, they all had these fun little figures. Now, this Rataro character looks like a rat shogun. It's a little cheaper. He's only about 170, but I mean, is there really that huge a difference between 170 and $200 when you're really looking at it? Not to me. Like, it's all basically about $200. So, just cool figures. And I mentioned the little figure earlier on, Mamut. They made one on a little bit of a larger size as a little companion piece for this toy line as well. And that's also about $180 to get it. He didn't have a lot of articulation, but it was kind of a fun little toy to have there on the side. Now, pretty cool bulldog and all. Now, if you look, we also, of course, will be looking at some of the vehicles and the play sets. I'm going to kind of save those for our bonus section outside of the top 10, because once we get to those prices, you'll see that they really could have skewed the list, and then I just would have been doing a huge list of like play sets and vehicles. So we just kind of separate into two. So just for our purposes here, though, these ones aren't going to make that bonus list, and the Hovercat is about a $200 box figure. You can get cheaper ones loose and a lot of incomplete ones, in that $50 range even. But it's cool stuff to look out for. I mean, there's fun toys and fun things to play with. The Mutant Skycutter is another one. This one's a little bit more expensive at $275. And he's got a very cool futuristic kind of feel. Like, you would think everything's going to be more on that sword and sorcery kind of vibe, but these really are really high-tech looking vehicles, if you ask me. So the Sky Cutter there is kind of cool, as well as the Mutant Nosediver, which goes back to about that $180. But it's just, again, very clean look to these toys. Look at with the decals and the designs. It's excellent work, I got to say. Fun stuff. So with that said, we're just going to get right to the figures of our top 10. Now, starting us off at our number 10 spot, we're looking at Grune. Now, this character, it's pretty cool. He's got a mace, got a little tough look to him there. He's Grune the Destroyer. Now he's coming in at about $300 for a sealed Grune figure, and that's why he's coming in last on our list at number 10. Again, very, very cool design. You got that one tusk kind of look going there, so it looks like he's seen some action because he most likely should have had two, but he lost one somewhere along the line. Definitely a cool little figure, and $300 is why he's rolling in at number 10. And then following Grune, we're going to look at number 9, and we've got Cheetara. And she came packaged in that initial series with Wily Kit, which is just kind of like a little PVC kind of stand-in figure. Wily Kit didn't have any posability. She was just kind of like a little extra add-on. And obviously, since they were the kids of the series, they're a little bit smaller sized, so they get kind of packaged with some of the other figures. But Cheetara is a popular figure and a popular character for the line. And she's coming in, like I said, at number 9, and that's at about $330. So she's a little bit more expensive on the high sale price that I found while doing my research this week, which will take us into number 8. And number 8's a little bit later in the run where they kind of started adding a little bit more of extra characters. And these Berserkers, this Berserker line, we had Hammerhand coming in at number 8, and he's about $335 packaged. And interesting design, this weird kind of space pirate kind of vibe that they had going there with his huge hand, which was kind of cool that you can grab other figures with it. Just kind of oversized. I mean, his face, he kind of looks like a really deranged Muppet, like somebody from Dr. Teeth's band, mixture of animal and I don't know. He's just very interesting looking character. And that hand is a fun little thing that you can play with. Fun little extra feature. Which will take us to number 7. And this will take us to Berbil Bill. Yeah, it looks like your Teddy Ruxpin got most of the hair pulled off of his face, and he's wandering around. This looks like it could even be a Battlestar Galactica type character. I don't know. It's just a odd figure. But at $355, this is why it's coming in at number 7. And this isn't the only Berbil figure, but this is the one that I found selling. And yeah, this robot mixed teddy bear thing is it's a little bit goofy, but a little bit creepy as well. I don't know. It's got a weird mix. It just makes me a little uneasy when I look at it. I don't know. Just not something I'd really want to have hanging around these days. I don't know. This gives me a little bit of the creeps. There's something about the dead eyes and that red nose. Maybe it's the clown thing. I don't know. But we're just gonna move on from that. And our next one is Safari Joe at number 6. Yeah, again, later in the line, so we start reaching almost like in that Ninja Turtle line where we just start getting a little bit oddball, crazier characters. So we got this Safari Hunter that I guess would kind of make sense in having a whole toy line of cat-themed figures that these big cats would be hunted by a hunter. We could have gotten somebody who looked more like Craven, but instead we've got a little bit of a mixture of Craven and Elmer Fudd, I guess. I don't know. But Safari Joe is about $410 in the package if you can find him out there. Still pretty cool. I mean, it is what it is. Some of these are not that easy to find, and even loose, these can do pretty well in a couple $100 range. And if you are watching this on my channel, at the end, even after all these extras that we're going over, I'm still going to give you a few honorable mentions, and those are going to be just some high loose figure sales that I came across. So if you're interested in just the loose figures, check out the honorable mentions coming up later in the video. So with that said, we're just going to move into our top 5. And starting out our top 5, we've got Tygra coming in here at $609 at our number 6 spot. Now, what's interesting to note about Tygra is that there are a couple of different versions. I mean, apart from the fact that, as I noted with Cheetara, there was the set that came packaged with, the smaller kid. The Wily Kit was with Cheetara, and Wily Cat was packaged with Tygra. But then there's also the versions with them packaged without, the kid characters. But in addition, Tygra is one of the few figures that actually has 2 separate molds. If you look, the one that I first noted with the $610 price that's coming in at number 6 is the I've found on my research, the young version. I guess the face is a little bit of a younger look, whereas the old version, it's a little bit more squat, a little bit more brutish than that, the young look. So they're calling that one the old Tygra. And both of them have, pretty much the same, sets, the pretty much the same accessories. Just the mold of the figure just changed, and the prices aren't that far off. I think the old figure was still in that like $500-600 range, but the young is the one that again came in at the high. So I put these little guys side by side so you can see a little bit of the difference in the body type, how they molded, and even in the head. Like the young has kind of a taller head, while the older one's a little bit more round and a little bit, like I said, a little wider and a little bit more. I don't want to say muscular because they're both pretty muscular looking, but just the frame is completely different between the two. And again, Wily Cat came packaged with Tygra. And again, PVC, no articulation in Wily Cat. It's just a little standee figure that would just kind of accompany the team, I guess. So we are going to move on to another fan favorite, number 4, Panthro. Panthro is a pretty cool character. His voice is just iconic. I know that was Bill Cosby's dad on the Cosby Show who did the voice. It's just one of those voices that I don't know. It's just pitch perfect. So $625 for our number 4 here. Again, another pretty cool figure. Cool design. I like the gray and the blue color scheme, and I like the nunchuck kind of action that he had with the extra long chain. It was a fun weapon for him and a pretty cool toy. And at number 4, we're $625. These are not cheap when we're talking about these in the package, and even loose. Depending on what you have accessory wise, you can do pretty well with a lot of these as well. So moving down to the top 3, our number 3 is a main hero here, Lion-O. $650 for Lion-O is why he's coming at number 3. And that first edition that came out, they also came with like the batteries and the light up eyes that you might have saw in the commercial that kind of kicked us off here. A lot of little accessories for Lion-O. I mean, he was the he was the main guy. He was the He-Man of the toy line. He was the main guy, the Optimus Prime. He had the cool sword. He had the claw glove, and like I said, the ring that you could get, and the light up eyes made him a little bit more special, I guess, in that sense. But $650 for him, which is why he is coming in at number 3. And as we move down our list, number 2 is the big bad. This is Mumm-Ra, also with that light up eye feature. But Mumm-Ra packaged as we can see here, $800. $800. That's what we're talking about here. These are expensive toys when we're getting into the higher ranges. And these aren't graded prices, mind you. There are graded figures out there. These were the loose sales that I could find of, not loose sales, the raw, ungraded, but in package sales that I found, like the high sale prices. But there are graded ones out there that sell for even more. So if these prices seem pretty steep or astounding to you, just imagine or go look up some of these graded AFA prices, because they are way up there as well. But number 2, Mumm-Ra. Again, a lot of extra accessories. He's got a tinier version of Mammut included here. You could take the headdress off of him. He had a couple of swords, the ring and the light up action there for him as well. Made this a pretty cool toy. Another fun little tidbit that goes along with Mumm-Ra is that there was a mail away of like the older version, almost like the wizard mummy kind of vibe look. But that was a mail away. You had to collect points and send those in, as we did back in the day. You had to go and collect points and mail them in for some figures. Like G.I. Joe did that, and a lot of toy lines did this back in the day. So this Mumm-Ra wasn't one that was on shelves, but is one that is pretty cool to have. So if you wanted it, you had to do your due diligence and get out a stamp and send in some points cut out from your packaging. So all that leaves us is what? Our top number 1. On our number 1 on this list is Pumyra. $850 for her. She became a little bit in, I don't know if it was the series second wave or series 3, but she came a little bit later in the run. This was another female character to add to the toy line. Not that easy to find. As you can see, $850 for a packaged one, but even the loose ones for her are a few $100s. So this is a tough figure to find in any form, whether it be in package or out of the package. So keep an eye out for it. She had this weird little slingshot and had this definite 80s vibe going with her look that they kind of gave her. I've seen some comparisons to her to the slave girl at the end of Weird Science, and I could see it. She does have that kind of punk rock look to her, which is kind of cool, but she is our number one for our top 10 list. But again, I still have more to show you because we didn't even get to the cool vehicle stuff yet. So just hang in there. We're going to go cover some of these bonus picks in a second. Now, for our bonus selections, we're going to go looking in some of the extra stuff that isn't completely just the straight figures. So this is still some fun stuff that we can take a look at and just appreciate this toy line. But I still have these kind of ranked in a way of building price and building value because some of this stuff really, really gets up there. So our first one is, this is the original light up Eye of Thunder, the Sword of Omens. $325 for it in the package for the original version. I had shown you earlier, my son's, this is the version from the 2011 series, and this one has some light up action, which no longer works because my kid broke it, and collapses and does a lot of fun stuff. The original didn't do all of that, but it is still a pretty cool sword, as you can see here, and that one is $325 if you want one. Following that up, we have this. It's kind of like a little add-on. It's not a full-on vehicle. This is the Thunder Wings. You can basically put the figure in there, and he can fly around with these Thunder Wings. Definitely pretty cool. $500 though for this Thunder Wing in a box. But outside of that, in the box, there is also a version where you can buy Lion-O with the Thunder Wings, and you get the figure with the wings as well. So there is that option. They did do this for the villains as well. I think it was like a Lash thing, and maybe we'll get to that a little bit later. But the Thunder Wings was a pretty cool for the good guys, a little extra. Again, can't quite say it's a vehicle because it's more of like a little add-on thing, a little glider almost. Now, up next, this is probably the most iconic, most memorable vehicle for this line, and this is the Thunder Tank.
Lion-O at the controls. Thunder tanks, instantly armed for battle. Laser guns, stun guns, mechanical jaws.
Release the boulders and crush the Thundercats.
Nothing can stop Thunder Tank. Thunder Tank and figures each sold separately, new from LJN.
Now, this is a awesome toy here. $525 for it in the box. But if you look at the pictures of it outside the box, this thing is just really cool. Like when you were push it across your floor, like the claws move, it just looks like it does in the cartoon. It's just a lot of fun and definitely something that people still want, which is what supports that higher price. I mean, $525 is pretty steep for a toy. But if you think that's bad, as I noted before, the Luna Lasher, which was kind of like the villain add-on piece. It's not quite a full-on vehicle. It's just a little snap-on thing you can put on the back of one of your villains, and has these little extra missiles and rockets. And that's a $600 figure, or $600 toy, I should say. I shouldn't say the figure because this is without a figure. This is just the Lunar Lasher in a little box, and that's $600. But I believe, like Lion-O came with the Thunder Wings, I think there might have been a Mumm-Ra version that also came with the Luna Lasher, but I just don't have an image handy to show you on that one, but I believe that was the case. But we're going to move on. Almost through our list, so just hang in there for a few more minutes as we look at the Astral Moat Monster next. $960 for this thing. This came in a little bit of a box, similar to some of the other things we've just seen recently. It's bigger than a normal figure. You can see here is this weird little, I don't know, it's like a chicken rat bat creature thing. I don't know. It's definitely creepy looking, but almost $1,000 for this. And again, loose, it's almost as pricey. So box, I know a lot of times you look at these prices and you're saying, I'm showing you this stuff with the box. How easy it is to find some in the box? It ain't easy to find this stuff in the box, but even loose, some of these things are, the price is basically the same on some of these toys, which is definitely pretty crazy. So we're going to keep rolling on and just check out the base. This is the Cat's Lair. Iconic image from the series. Just how cool are bases? Like, I don't know. They just definitely, there's just something special about them, whether it's Castle Grayskull or the Doom Tower to just Snake Mountain, even just bases are just really cool. The G.I. Joe Terror Dome. I don't know. This, for me, I just think they're one of the cooler things out there. I unfortunately didn't have a Cat's Lair when I was younger. I wanted one, but my parents did draw the line somewhere. I was a spoiled kid, but there still was a line, and apparently that line was drawn at the cat's lair. But if you take a look at this thing, definitely really cool. The claws kind of open up to, show this little storage area. There's stairway going up to some doors. There's a lot of cool little fun things here with the ladders and seating, and definitely a cool toy. Again, I'm jealous. I wish I had one, but I unfortunately did not. And we're going to move on again to the villains. Mumm-Ra's Tomb Fortress, $1,800 for this thing. And it's not even that large of a toy. If you can see in the pictures, this is just, it's similar to a base, but it's more just the tomb that kind of gives you the big reveal of the mummy Mumm-Ra that you have here with the Minotaur on the one side and like the lizard snake man on the other. You get the kind of Egyptian vibe going. I can't think of all the Egyptian god characters' names, but I know they have them, and I think that's kind of the vibe that they were definitely going with here with Mumm-Ra. And $1,800 for this thing. Definitely cool. Another one I did unfortunately not own myself, but kind of wish that I did. Which just leaves us with one more thing to look at, and this is the Tungosaurus. I know it's kind of a silly name and kind of makes you snicker a little bit to yourself of what they might be talking about, but the Tungosaurus is $2,000 for this thing. $2,000 for this toy. It's crazy. It's not even that big. I mean, it's, as you can see here, I can't really quite call it a vehicle. It's, I don't know, it's a creature, I guess. It's a villain, it's a toy you can play with, but $2,000 for in the box, which again seems crazy, but I also saw loose sales of this for about $1,800. So again, unboxed, some of this stuff is so hard to find that the price on both is basically the same. So that's my list. Hopefully I did Thundercats justice. Hopefully you guys like this. Please like and subscribe to my channel as well as the Tales from the Flip Side. Thanks for stopping by, and hopefully you like this list. I don't know which toy line I'm going to do next. Maybe I'll put out another poll, or maybe I'll just do something that is something I just feel like doing to kind of fill that time. But I do like the audience engagement and find out what you guys actually want to see. So the poll was kind of fun to kind of take that pulse and what everybody else was looking for. So I'm definitely going to do that again. I just don't know if I'm going to do it the next time out or not, but keep an eye out for it. And definitely love hearing your feedback. So please put comments in here. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. And again, like, subscribe, hit that alert button so you're getting alerted when we're dropping videos and when I'm dropping videos, because I'm trying to do a lot of more fun stuff. And like I said, if you're watching this on my channel, I still got a couple of more fun things for you. But otherwise, I will see you guys all next week. All right, well, for those of you who are hanging around on my channel to check out even more Thundercats toys, I do have a couple of more for you. So our honorable mentions is going to be a small list. I got another 5 loose sales that kind of really stood out to me that I just wanted to cover kind of separately. Because again, these were just, I could only find loose versions that were sold. So I couldn't give her comparable in-package price. So some of these sales you'll see are very significant and probably could have made the list, but I wanted to separate them because again, loose package, I wanted to have some distinction amongst the groupings here. So even though I'm going to show you some of the pictures of what the packages looked like, these are the prices and the sales for what they sold, loose. So our first one is this weird satyr looking character, Mongor. You can see that it's really creepy looking when you kind of look at it to me. So I don't know. It's definitely kind of creepy. But a loose one sold for about $200 on this Mongor figure. So that's why I wanted to note it. He kind of fits right in there with that pricing of some of the other villains that I'd said in the packages, but this is a loose sale for $200. So keep that in mind. Loose sale. And then up next, Yaga. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's been a while since I've watched the show, but he's coming in here. Again, I couldn't find any package sales for him, but loose, $320. You also get the Sword of Omens, pretty cool helmet, and the cloak there is actually made of fabric, which is a nice touch because that's something that was really special from toys back in the day. Because a lot of times you get weird clip-on plastic capes, but this, when you got a cloth cape, it was something special. Like I remember Darkseid's superpowers was pretty cool as well. So moving on, Bengali. This looks almost like a remold of a Tygra, but it isn't. I mean, you can see this is a sculpt all of its own, and it almost has this kind of like Snow Tiger kind of vibe and Snow Tiger kind of look, and pretty cool in the package. But I couldn't find any package sales. But loose is a consistent like $300, but the high one I saw was for $350. So that's why he was coming in next on this loose sale list. To only to be followed up by, I don't want to quite call this a vehicle. It was a small little add-on type thing. And this is the Stilt Runner. And this is kind of like a mechanized, motorized, to make any of your toys an Ed 209, basically. I couldn't find even any really good images of the loose toys to kind of share here, but $500 for this loose and no box sales. God only knows what the box sale would go for this one, because $500 consistently for a loose toy. You can see you just clip them right on, and I think it was just like a little motorized thing, and it would just start running across the floor. It's kind of fun, you know, running like a chicken, almost like an ATSD. I don't know, but $500 for this thing, which is why I definitely wanted to make note of it. And then our last one is one of these Rampager figures that they had, and this is the Driller. Definitely an odd toy, but $780 loose. $780 loose for this guy. Craziness. With this weird little drill bit kind of look. Toys back then, they tried a lot of different things. We get a lot of special features and special lines just so they can try out these weird little ideas that some toy maker had, and it's kind of fun and kind of cool. And a lot of times they didn't make as many of these things, which is why they become so much harder to find. And they come near the ends of the toy lines, as this did. I think this came in the final wave, the Series 3 in 87, I believe. So definitely harder to find. So $780 makes a lot of sense. God only knows what the in-package price would be on this, because I couldn't find any right now to kind of show off. But with that said, again, I hope you guys liked it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.